Hello, my love, and welcome back to Being That Woman. On today's episode, I am going to dive into unhooking from He's the One. So if you're a woman that knows that you romanticize and you constantly find yourself in these thoughts and beliefs of wondering, is this my person? Is he the one? And you know that you have a hook and an anxiety that comes with those thoughts, and you find yourself disappointed after every single experience, no matter how small it was. And firstly, I just want to put my hand up and just share, me too. I can definitely relate to being the woman that would walk into a festival and I'd have all of these thoughts of wondering, am I going to meet my person tonight? Is this the time? Is this going to be the event that's going to change the trajectory of my life because I finally meet the one person that I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with? And I would even remember when I would be walking the streets of Lisbon and I'd lock eyes with a guy. And you'd have that like moment of connection. And there's a slight feeling of like intimacy in that moment. And my mind would go to, oh, maybe he's my person. Maybe this is that point of my story where he turns around and he says, hey, do you want to go and grab coffee? And it's this whole big fairy tale. And then that's how I tell our grandchildren that we met. And it's only been, I would say, probably the last 6 to 12 months where I've really started to realize that this is leaving my system. That I'm starting to just walk the streets and just be in the streets without wanting to be found or without seeking and looking. And this is really, really normal. Why? Well, firstly, we're humans and we're hardwired for connection, for belonging. And as women, this can be even more intense and amplified because for the longest time, we had been and still are conditioned in many ways to inherently believe that our worth is connected to us being with a man. And what that means is we find ourselves in this space, if you're single, of wondering if you're worthy, of wondering why not you, of wondering when. And it keeps the mind in a hyper-vigilant state because underneath there is a belief system that is running the show, basically, that is saying you need to have a man. You need to have a man because you don't belong. You need to have a man because you're not worthy. You need to have a man because it means you're not secure. And it gets especially amplified if we're obviously in the world of social connection and other people seeing us, because there can be a shame in there's something wrong with me if I'm not part of the pack. If I don't have a man, if I don't have a marriage or a unit or a family set up, if I'm not living life that way, like everyone else, like I've been told that I need to, like I've been trained and programmed that I need to, then there's something wrong with me. And it separates us from others. And we don't want to separate. We want to belong. So I just want to really normalize the experience. If you find yourself having those spiraling thoughts and those feelings of like, I'm not like good enough and I need to do more, I need to be better, I need to be something or someone different than I am so that I can, quote unquote, attract the man and then belong. That brings me to the point of like really wanting to speak into the difference between being chosen by a man and also chasing a man. Because if we have something going on in our nervous system where we don't feel safe because we're not in a relationship and we're still single and we're in fear of the future of being left on the shelf, it threatens our survival and we go into the hypervigilant state of wondering what's going on, especially if as a woman, you have been very well trained to be in your mind, to try to want to figure it out, to understand, to get the whys and why did this happen and why don't I have a man and what do I need to do and how do I build confidence and how do I be more attractive. This is a super normal experience that is trying to be looped and completed in your body because there is the fear, there is the nervous system not feeling safe because of the conditioning of still single. And what that does, depending on your unique system, it can put you into a response of chasing. So the chasing is part of the survival mechanism because you want a different experience, because you can't be with the current experience of being single. And I see this in so many women, and it really lends itself to the woman that wants to be the good girl, that wants to be perfect, that wants to be chosen, that wants to be attractive, that really wants to appease and please and be good, be the good wife, be the good girlfriend. So the chasing happens because we want to have that experience, because we've told ourselves that that experience is safe, and it's not safe in being single. So many women chase. So they walk into that festival, they walk down the street, and they are wanting to be chosen by a man. But the point here is that the choosing and wanting to be chosen by a man is happening from a survival response. It's happening from a feeling of fear of not good enough, because I need the man to feel good enough. That's where so many women get tripped up. Nobody really wants to be with someone, man or woman, who is believing that they need something from them, because it's not true love. It's not true giving, because essentially what you're doing is like, I need you to complete me. I need you to make me whole. I need you to say yes to me. I need you to like me, love me, approve of me. I need you to basically validate me. That's exhausting. I wouldn't want a man who constantly needed attention, who constantly needed reassurance, that constantly needed to know that I'm attracted to him. It's, we're living in an already preoccupied, very chaotic world enough, and having to hold someone else's emotional pole because they can't hold it for a part themselves is such a huge thing. So women chase because they haven't learned to choose themselves. And because of the paradigm of the patriarchy and the difference in masculine and feminine polarity, women are constantly feeling like they're not complete, like they're unfulfilled, like they need something. The flip side to it is being chosen is 100% a beautiful experience that every single woman gets to experience. And it's not from a standpoint of like, I need you to choose me to validate me, or because I'm not good without you. Being chosen is the art of being found and being seen and being supported and being loved on and being respected. And firstly, you choosing yourself and knowing that you're worthy of that. Not because you can't do that for yourself, not because you can't honor yourself, not because you can't meet your own needs, not because you can't say yes to your own desires, but actually because you're a vibrational match for that energy. And I see so many women not being able to choose themselves, and then it creates a scarcity. So that's the point of the nervous system work, and why it's so important to be able to unhook from anything and anyone outside of you that you have put a dependency on that being in your life and being something that you experience in order to feel good enough about yourself, in order to feel safe, in order to feel like you're successful. I know that for me, one of my biggest hooks that I didn't even notice until I was on retreat with my mentor, Preston, in the States. This one line just really blew my mind because of just the way I answered it and what came out of my mouth. But he said, "Oh, what do you think it is? Like, why do you think you're not in a relationship yet?" And I said to him, "Oh, because I've got to be successful first, because I'm focusing on my career." And then he said to me, "Well, what's the measurement? What's the condition of satisfaction?" I think it was what he said. And I said, "Oh, I don't know." And in that moment, I was like, oh, so I basically put this goal in front of a goal, if you want to see it like a goal. I don't even know what I actually need to reach in order to be able to say, okay, I'm successful now. I'll go and start dating again and actually go after the thing that was really deeply on my heart, but clearly My mind had hijacked me and put in something in front of it. We can hook onto these things. So my hook at that time was, I need to be successful in order to put myself out there and confidently date again. And if you even go macro on that, well, you get to find the interesting point. And my interesting point was, why do I feel like I even need to be a certain level of success to meet the guy? What, because men only want successful women in business or earning a certain amount? So there's a whole package to it when you really start unhooking from these belief systems that are actually driving the behaviors or non-behaviors, like it was the case for me of not dating, in your life that are actually putting you further and further away from the thing that you say that you desire. Being chosen is actually doing the unhooking. It's actually getting really crystal clear on why you do certain things and what's underneath that. And then what's underneath that. And then what's underneath that. Why you hyperdate. Why you constantly going on dates and not giving yourself solo dates. And then after you really find the hooks that are really, really, really tight in your behaviors, you've got to start not doing them. You've got to start doing something different. So for example, with me, when I realized that, I was like, so I put together this imaginary condition, which was actually blocking me from something that I say that I wanted. But I know that thing over there is scary. And I know that after you've experienced a painful breakup like me, getting back out there can feel like the scariest thing. But what I also know is that your nervous system has to be back in an experience, and you have to build the mental and emotional safety and build the body that can hold doing hard things like dating again. Or equally, if you know that you're a hyper dater and you're constantly going on dates and you can't spend time on your own, and that is your hook, then your work is to slow down and to not date so much and to date yourself more, or have a break from dating. Just recalibrate, and also notice when the break is complete, because we can also be like, I'm just going to stay single for a year. Why a year? Like literally, why a year? You get to be really honest with, I've been avoiding dating for a really long time. My year turned into 2 years to 3 years to 4 years to 5 years. I've been a decade single. And also, I am hooked on not needing a man, right? So there's a really, really beautiful point in every woman's life where she gets to do the nervous system work. So right now, I want you to get really honest and curious. For example, if you're a woman who knows that you are either hooked onto avoiding dating and not wanting a man, and you almost low level hate men, and I've been there, no shame in that game. Or on the flip side, you're on the apps all the time and you're dating. And the place that we want to get to is you understanding your nervous system response. So for example, there are 3 survival mechanisms of your nervous system: fight, flight, freeze. Now, there is another branch, which is the part of the social nervous system, which is appease. And that we essentially don't need it to survive and to live. It's not affecting per se any part of the construct of us actually surviving, but it is evolving that way because of the way that humans have evolved. So for example, if you're in a fight response, this in dating might look like constantly questioning and judging men. Maybe you're even on the dates and you're judging men on the dates. Like you're sat there like, I didn't ask for your opinion on that. Oh, here he is talking about his gym routine again. Like, look at the way he chews that food. This is like a full-on fight response. You are in the judgment cycle and it's spinning. And maybe you're even picking fights as well. Maybe it's someone that you're kind of like low-key dating and you're picking fights or you're looking for the red flags. This is a fight response. You have got to be able to find regulation, to find ease in your system, to be able to then see things differently and not have to attack. Now, more often than not, when I'm working with a woman on this, and what I noticed in my system was when it was a fight response, really what was going on underneath that was resentment towards an ex. And also, more often than not, underneath that, a resentment towards ourselves for putting up with the ex. Next up, flight. If you are in a flight response, this is going to look like constantly needing to get away. Like, I cannot be bothered with the apps. Like, you might flick through the apps a little bit, like, boom, can't be bothered. Or you're on a date and you're like, oh, cool, yeah, great story. Anyway, I've got to go. And you can't even give like a little bit more landed time because the system's literally like, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. It can also look like just being very passive in messages and just not wanting to go deep in connection and conversation. You're just constantly keeping things very low surface. That would be a flight response. Now, freeze. Freeze is, no, this is too overwhelming. Men are too confusing. Nah, I'm going to check out. Can't be bothered. And you just completely disengage. And it's just like, nope, not going there. And then the appease is, oh yeah, I really love that too. Yeah, I really like that. Oh yeah, I really love your shirt today. It's amazing. So beautiful. Oh yeah, if you want to go to that restaurant, I'll go anywhere, whatever you want to do. And it's almost a flavor of the cool girl, like whatever you want, whatever you need, right? I'm cool. Yeah, easy going. Don't want to go on a date like on Wednesday night? Yeah, I'll go on Thursday night, even though I've got a yoga class on Thursday night, but I'll reschedule it for you. So either one of these, you get to get really, really curious. So like I said with fight, more often than not, underneath it is the energy of resentment or anger that gets to and wants to be addressed. And until that emotion is addressed and you have literally completed whatever cycle is still sitting in your system with your ex, you will continue to fight. You will continue to find red flags. He will continue to be the villain and every single man will be bad news because that is what your mind essentially is looking for. And then similar with flight, if you know that you constantly got this response, firstly, you just really want to check in and get really curious about why you don't want to be around this person. Like, what is it that is presenting in this person? And get curious about the story. Because we are story beings. We will make a ton of shit up. Some of it will be true. Most of it will be our solid truth, but we want to get underneath if it is a story that we're telling ourselves because there's fear in the body. Because the fear is essentially creating the hook of needing to chase him or needing to get away from him or whatever it is. There's just a really interesting play that's going to be going on. Third piece, if you're in freeze, you just want to soften a little bit. You just want to thaw out. I see freeze as taking things really slowly, and that might be going for a coffee with a male friend to start off with, or going for a drink with a couple, for example, and just really start to ease yourself in and also obviously catch the stories that come up. And then if you're in appease, this is more often coming from the good girl. It's coming from the part of you that wants to be seen as perfect and wants to be chosen and wants to be loved on so much. So she says yes to absolutely everything that he wants to do, or his opinions, and validates him because she wants to be validated herself. And with that, you just got to really enroll your bad bitch. That part of you that is assertive, that has opinion, that wants to be boundaried, that wants to be respected, she's really got to come online because that is the truth of you. You do have an edge of assertiveness. And this doesn't mean being a bad bitch in the form of, fuck you, you don't matter, I don't care about you, whatever you say is stupid. No, we're getting deep into the fight response again, right? It's really, really important that you still have a backbone of dignity on dates, that if something doesn't align with you, you speak it out and you say it out, not from a fight energy or wanting a debate or defensiveness, but just from like, oh, this is my opinion and it's so cool that you've got your own opinion as well, but I see it a little bit differently. And isn't it really interesting that two humans can have completely different perspectives. And I'm just using that as an example because, yes, I did go on a date with a guy and we got into a full-on debate. He was activated. I was low-level activated. There was definitely something there. He was definitely way more in the fight than I was, but he was challenging me and antagonizing me. And I ended the date early because I was like, you know what? I don't feel like we're having any other conversation other than a disagreement and a debate over a few different topics. And it always comes back to needing to be challenged because my opinion doesn't land with you. And I get your opinion. It's really, really interesting. And like I said earlier, important for you to know what your nervous system is playing out in dating. Because any one of those things, fight, flight, freeze, appease, means that you are coming at it from a survival mechanism, literally. And it's going to mean that you're hooking onto him, what's going on, you're hooking onto his approval, you're hooking onto the experience, or equally, you're hooking onto wanting to get away from him. And you being able to know and discern what your unique system is doing at any moment in time and being able to regulate yourself means that you unhook. It gets to just be an experience like, cool, I'm on a date with this guy, things have come up, but I'm able to just land back in my body without my mind going into telling me a ton of things that might not be true. And I still get to be in this experience and learn from this experience. So, my love, I'm going to leave it with you getting really curious. Where are you right now dating from fight, flight, freeze, or appease, which equals you coming at dating from fear? And what would it take for you to land more into desire by way of regulation? I hope that this episode landed for you, my love. Please do leave me a 5-star review and make sure to tag me on Instagram. I am at Anna Christina, as I would love, 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 love to connect with you.